Chatty Chappies are the recent friends Andy and Brian who are discovering similar interests, and just like chatting about all kinds of things from music to vehicles, spirituality to writing, but seldom football. If you want to be added to their future communications, there will be a notice at the end of this broadcast. Chatty Chappies.
And good evening.
Hiya.
How are you?
Oh, I'll tell you what, we've had quite a chat since we,
Yeah.
because I had about a 5-week break, and now we're getting these off every week.
Yeah, and by now we'll probably have a new logo in front of our videos.
Yes.
The barrow has gone to...
It's hiding behind some
Acer
leaves.
Yes, yeah, so hopefully people will like that and have a wee smile.
Aye, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That barrow goes back quite a bit. It was from Easter Ross Building Supplies.
Was it?
In Invergordon,
Oh,
yeah.
there we are. We shout out for Easter Ross
and
Building
Easter
Supplies.
Ross Builders, yeah. So it's kind of like a paint. It's, as you know, it's yellow and white and red handles.
Yeah.
But it's served us well. In fact, it's just a few weeks ago I put some more air in the tyre and it's functioning fine.
Aye.
Yeah.
For most, unless you're a builder, you're only ever going to need one barrow in your life.
Well, if it's a good one, it's the only one you need.
Aye, yeah.
But I tell you, if you're working on a big project, you might need more than just a barrow.
Well, talking of big projects, here's one I'm going to run by you.
Oh, I know it's coming.
Right, we touched on it at the end of the last programme.
Oh, yes.
Carversdale Castle, up at Ardguy.
Oh, right.
Ardguy, in the banks of the river. Is it on the Shin? I think it's on the Shin.
Is it on the Shin?
Yes, because it costs about
to the
Shin Hotel.
It's quite near the railway, isn't it?
It is. You come up. There's a railway station at Ardguy. There's a railway station at Coleraine.
Yes.
And then your next one is Invershin or
Invershin. Once you've gone over the water.
Over the water, and then.
No, I'm not sure if that's still a stop or not. Probably a limited stop.
A limited stop, a request stop, and then on to Rogart.
Oh yes, an area of the country we know it well. Yes, yeah.
You know it well. Well, so, that castle is a beautiful castle.
Yeah, I've been in it once, and I've been at it a couple of times, maybe 3 times. Yeah.
Aye. I was 20 odd years ago when I was taxi driving here, and I took somebody to Carversdale Castle, a French travel agent.
Wow.
And it was one at the start of those sort of backpackers, haggis tours type organisations, and they were showing all these European travel agents what they could offer. So anyway, I ended up being up there for 2 or 3 hours late on one night, and it was still the youth hostel. The youth hostel manager gave us all a guided tour, which as a taxi driver I found it incredible. I can wax lyrical about the history of Carversdale Castle. I think it was probably the second owner, the shipping magnate Christian Salverson, who had bought it, and it put a lot of the artwork into it, which I doubt that's still there. That will have been reclaimed by the National Galleries of Scotland.
Yes,
I'd be very surprised if it's still there, or if any subsequent owners would get it back. But there we are.
So what's the story? Because I picked up the phrase "Castle of Spite."
There was some falling out in the Earls and Dukes of Sutherland.
I see.
At the end of the 19th century.
Right.
And somebody was banished from ever setting foot in Sutherland.
Oh.
So they built this castle in Rossshire, right on the Rossshire-Sutherland border.
Okay.
Okay, the front wall, the one that overlooks the river, is right on the county boundary.
So was this the Countess herself? Is that her place?
I would have to. I'll come back to
sister,
you on who it was.
But some family
But
connection.
it was built at the end of the 19th century. It was the last castle to be built, completed in the 20th century.
Okay. And then at some point you said the Salvesons had it?
Christian Salveson, the Norwegian shipping magnate, bought it sometime in the that
40s?
No, earlier than
earlier
that.
than that.
20s or 30s.
I see.
And he was...
so was it in the 40s when the youth hostel bit came in?
After the Second World War.
Right.
In fact, when Norway, the Nazis invaded Norway, the royal family, the Norwegian royal family, came over to this country.
Yep.
Because Christian Salveson was the most prominent Norwegian in this country at that time, or one of the most prominent.
Yeah.
The king and the crown prince and maybe other members of the Norwegian royal family spent a lot of the time at Carversdale.
Yeah.
And they were worried that should the Soviets liberate, in inverted commas, Norway, that they might forget that it had been a monarchy. And so the League of Nations met at Carversdale, and the Carversdale Agreement was signed, which guaranteed the return of Norway as a monarchy after the liberation of... So...
Very interesting. That's all new to me, Andrew.
Aye.
All new to me.
So anyway, Christian Salveson was so horrified at the loss of life during the Second World War, the horrendous loss of life, so soon after a previous European war which had devastated a generation, that he wanted to do something for the youth of the world, where they create a place where they could meet in friendship and trust and peace. And he came up with the idea of donating the castle, and he gave the castle in trust to the Scottish Youth Hostel Association, including all of its works of art. Because he said, to gain trust, to build trust, you have to give trust. And so you had some of the finest Italian marble statues outside of Italy in a youth hostel in the north of Scotland. You've got Canalettos and Giottos and other classical artists' paintings on the walls. And one of the things that was highlighted to us was a tapestry, which was a large, probably about the size of a small domestic, the wall of a small domestic room. So the book room here, that wall.
Yep.
It was of a peacock, but not with its tail open.
Okay.
It was sort of looking back over its shoulder with it, and it was, you looked at it and you would have thought nothing of it. It was all dark brown, no colour other than the dark brown. But it had been discovered by Howard Carter in one of the tombs in Egypt in the 1920s.
Wow.
And he said to us, you know, that was in a tomb in Egypt when Alexander the Great passed that way. You know, it had been there for over 1,000 years when Christ was born.
Yeah.
And it's hanging on the wall of a youth hostel in Scotland, and you could feel the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Yeah. Anyway, let's cut to the chase.
It certainly explains the bit about the trust quite well. You know, a precious piece like that. And
the hostel manager said that it was probably worth more than the castle and all the other artwork put together.
Yeah. So the youth hostel received the premises and what was in it on a trust basis.
Yeah.
And that was just after the war.
Yes, sometime in the 1940, you know, whether it was 46, 47 or 48, I don't know the exact date, but yeah.
And at some point it was sold. In fact, I think it's been sold a few times.
There was some damage done to it one winter 20 years ago. We had a very severe winter, and I think there was damage done, which it became impossible for the Youth Hostel Association to keep up the maintenance of the building.
Right.
It's been up for sale for several times, and it is up for sale at the moment. So if you've got a spare £1.2 million, you can buy yourself a Scottish castle.
A Scottish castle. A first-class residence, eh?
Now, we've touched on retreat centres.
Oh yes, a few programmes back,
And,
what are you thinking?
Get a wee consortium together of people who've got 1.2 million plus to spare. Could it be created as a Christian spiritual retreat centre? Maybe even a centre for writers to go to get peace to study and write? I don't know. I know it's for sale for 1.2 million.
It's a thought, isn't it?
I don't know how much it's going to take to put it back into being habitable.
Yeah.
Just an idea that passes through your head from time to time. You know,
well,
when you're
it's interesting.
Looking in the property pages.
1.2 million.
Stratton Parker, and
it sounds like a bargain, doesn't it, for the size and the situation?
You think if you've lived in the south of England.
Yeah.
If you lived in Cambridge.
Yeah.
And heading in towards London, how much money you would have to be able to buy a flat.
Yeah.
In Belgravia. Or even an ordinary flat at, North Finchley or somewhere.
That's right.
You pay more than we paid for this house here.
Yeah. But of course it's not there, is it? It's in the ends of Ross-shire.
Yes.
It's a lovely site, it's a lovely looking building. Yeah. It's had presumably a lot of repairs done to it.
Yeah.
So maybe the purchase price itself, although it's 1.2 million, is not a big hurdle. I just wonder about the running costs of a place like that.
That's the side that it would.
Yeah.
You're going to. There's
a lot of solar panels to go on the roof.
There would have to be a lot of solar panels.
Big boiler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 So how could it function?
How was it functioning when it was a youth hostel?
No, that's the point.
Let's go back round. How was it functioning when it was a youth hostel? And between being a youth hostel and its current situation, how much messing about has there been in the way of renovation to try and make it into a private residence?
Yes. Yeah.
If we were thinking of starting a charitable trust and opening it as a retreat centre, then you would not necessarily, it doesn't have to be palatial surroundings. You could have it as a youth hostel basis.
Okay. I think a business plan is required.
A business plan is required.
And a budget.
And a budget.
Yeah. And some assessments.
Assessments.
Yeah.
A wee trip out to have a look.
A wee trip out and maybe have a look at the survey report because, what's the damage, what's the cost to make right anything that needs made right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting though.
Yeah. There's a kernel of an idea there.
Yeah.
That it's kind of been sort of finding the people with the business oomph.
Yes.
Take it forward.
It's not just the check, is it? It's the acumen.
Daft lad in the Highlands thinking he can run a.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah. It's not for a burger stall.
No.
It wouldn't work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely sight though, and
magnificent.
Strange history to it.
Think of the New Year parties you could have at a place like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do remember being in it with a couple of people, and there was big stone stairs going up, and big rooms, and cornices, and lovely red carpets. But I don't know what it's like now, but my understanding is that there was a change from being the hostel to more residential.
Yeah.
Which might actually fit in.
Yeah. Well, it's there doing nothing at the moment.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have to work a few more days to get the 1.2 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, if someone's got that kind of money, maybe they could contact us.
Yes, by all means.
And we could arrange for the next steps.
Yeah.
Well, the night is going on, Andrew, I think.
Well, nowadays, we're in the middle of June now.
Yeah.
There's not really such a thing as night
in
the Highlands.
There's not.
We're what? It's almost 10 o'clock and it's daylight.
Yeah, listen, better go.
Aye.
Yeah, nice to see you again.
Likewise.
Look forward to another chat with you.
Indeed, yes.
I wonder what we'll talk about.
Well, Carversdale's on the cards now.
Oh, well, we'll find something.
We'll find something.
Cheery.
Bye.
You were listening to Brian and Andy of Chatty Chappies. It's now easier for people to find our page Chatty Chappies in Facebook search. Come and join them again soon. If you want to know when to hear them next, send a private message with your email details to the Facebook page Chatty Chappies for further instructions. The song Uncertainty by Broxton Knox is available on Spotify.